You trying to start a fire, King. It's year of the lawsuits for real because they just keep coming out. They just keep coming out. It's never ending. It keeps coming and pause. Pause, but pause. Pause. Like yo. Lightning, brother. That was wicked work, you know. Jesus. Hey, look. Enough of that. Y'all know what time it is. Let's get things popping, bro. Let's go. Yo, right here. Right here in the small box. Right here in the small box. Welcome back to Single Seater Reactions, only on the Flex Mind Network. I'm Flex. Welcome back to the channel. What's her name? Desiree Perez? Now, I'm not too familiar with this situation, but is it true that Roc Nation is catching the Rico for real? Like, what the hell going on over there? What is going on for real, bruh? I want to know. I'm curious. A salute to the chat for letting me know about this. So we're going to go ahead and dive into this. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think about the video. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the reaction. Hit that notification bell to get notified when I drop my videos or when I'm live like right now. And God Almighty, please, please play fair, guys. Yo, Tiff, enough. I said pause. Leave me alone. It's not fair. It's not fair. What's coming out is wicked.
All right, so this one is a wild one. Apparently, Desiree Perez, yeah, the same woman who runs Roc Nation, right hand to Jay-Z, the woman getting Super Bowl halftime show deals, all that, is being sued by her own daughter. And not for some light family drama either. This is full-blown illegal wiretaps, fake arrests, mental institutions, secret cameras in the bedroom. Like a real-life, Lifetime movie type of energy is going on with this lawsuit. And like I said, she's being sued by her own daughter, Demery Hadley. I believe I'm saying her name right. Y'all forgive me if I'm not. She says that her mom used her money.
Yo, Tiny, put the scissors away. Don't do that.
Lawyers, private investigators, and all the firepower that Roc Nation had just to blow up her relationship and take her husband down. And it's not just talk. Apparently there's receipts, screenshots, police records. She even claims that her mom hacked her phone and had her held under the Baker Act in Florida after telling authorities that her daughter was having a mental breakdown when she wasn't, right? And Desiree Perez is one of these people in the music industry that has a pretty deep backstory. She's not just some random music executive. She's a former drug trafficker turned federal informant who somehow ended up running one of.
Hold on a second. Yo, I might need some air. She did what? She did what?
As a pretty deep backstory. She's not just some random music executive. She's a former drug trafficker turned federal informant who somehow ended up running one of the biggest entertainment empires in the entire country. Trump even gave her a pardon for her crimes back in 2021. Anyways, I got my hands on the actual court docs. And so today we're going to go through them and see exactly what this lawsuit is accusing Desiree Perez.
I might need an aspirin because my brain is not right now. Yo. Queen Pin is an understatement. Like, what?
Because this really is truly deeper than just a petty family fight. So let's get into it. So you can see the cover page here. You can see that Desiree Perez's daughter is not only suing Desiree Perez, but Iconic Creator, LLC, Roc Nation, the South Broward Hospital, Odyssey Behavior Healthcare, Life Skills of South Florida Outpatient Center, and even the Broward County Sheriff's Office. And it starts right here by laying out all of the facts. It says one plaintiff, Demery Hadley, was a citizen of the state of Florida and a resident of Miami-Dade County, Florida, which is the Southern District of Florida when this happened. Defendant Desiree Perez, formerly known as Desiree Rosa Gonzalez, Desiree Reynoso, and Desiree Lopez, was a citizen of the state of New Jersey. Defendant Roc Nation was a New York corporation engaged in commercial activity throughout the United States. Defendant Desiree Perez was its chief executive officer. Iconic Creative was a Florida corporation engaged in commercial activity, right? It goes on to just lay out everybody that she's suing and what their role is. They lay out a jurisdiction. I'm not really going to read all that. But right here, they really get into the meat of the case on point 22. It says, this case gives meaning to the phrase, you wouldn't believe it until you see it. Desiree Perez is a former drug trafficker, confidential informant, and convicted felon who is now the CEO of Roc Nation in New York City. Demery Hadley is Desiree's biological daughter.
No. How is she a CEO? How is she a CEO? How do you go from... Wait, these niggas are gonna be on tour in the UK at the same time? I can't wait for this. I'm dead.
Javon Hadley is Demery's husband. Demery met Javon while they attended Miami Palmetto Senior High School. Demery and Javon have been together for the past 15 years and got married in 2024, and this complaint will refer to them collectively as the Hadleys. For the past 2 years, Desiree has used her money, power, and influence to tear the Hadleys apart. Desiree created an enterprise of individuals to effectuate her plot and used unlawful means to have Javon falsely arrested on 3 different occasions and Demery falsely detained under Florida's Baker Act and Marchman Act statutes. And the Baker Act in Florida is a mental health act. It's a state law that allows for involuntary examination and hospitalization of people who may be mentally ill. Unfortunately, as detailed below, Desiree has a history of using illegal tactics to get her way, even if it requires wearing rubber gloves and providing false information to authorities. Wow, not the picture of Desiree with the rubber gloves on. Yeah. Damn. It says
Yo, Tiny, what do you have me watching right now? What do you have me watching right? What is this? What is this? Nah, this different. So apparently Desiree Perez is the CEO of Roc Nation, and we're talking about that Roc Nation, and she's getting sued by her daughter for a whole mess of nonsense. Yeah, Desiree Perez helped put together the Big Pimpin' video because Pimpin' refused to speak, or Pimp refused to speak to Jay. So he spoke to Desiree about the videos. Wow. Yo, this is insane. I ain't gonna lie. This is crazy.
In addition to being the CEO of Roc Nation, upon information and belief, Desiree is part owner of the company. Roc Nation was founded in 2008 by music icon Jay-Z and has become one of the most influential entities in the entertainment and sports industry. Roc Nation represents chart-topping musicians, elite athletes, and influential entertainers, including Rihanna, J. Cole, Shakira, Kevin Durant, and Saquon Barkley. The National Football League...
Saquon, nigga. Saquon Barkley. Come on, bro.
NFL contracts Roc Nation to organize and select performers for the Super Bowl halftime show. Roc Nation also assists artists with creating content for concerts and movies. Desiree, as CEO, has an army of tech staff with access to the best technology that money can buy. She also has a team of attorneys and private investigators at her disposal. Despite her current position, Desiree's background and discreet rise to prominence was highly unusual. Unfortunately, Desiree's past and her abandonment of Demery is the root cause of the current friction between a mother and a daughter. The relationship is unfortunate, sad, and disheartening. More disappointing, the relationship could have been repaired through alternative means, but Desiree chose to employ heavy-handed tactics instead. It says Desiree's past as a drug trafficker, confidential informant, fraudster.
Bro, they keep bringing it up, and I just can't believe. Bro, how do you go from a drug trafficker to the CEO of Roc Nation? How? That's not escaping me. That is not going to escape me at all. How? Hey, Ace, he better. Saquon better for real.
and fugitive. It says Desiree participated in federal drug trafficking activities in the 1990s under her prior name, Desiree Reynoso. And they've got a screenshot of her charges from back in 1995. It says following Desiree's federal indictment and arrest, she was originally sentenced to 30 months in prison. However, Desiree became a confidential informant and provided information to federal law enforcement, which caused the government to file a motion eliminating her 30-month prison sentence. And it's got a screenshot of that. It says, while engaged in narcotics trafficking activities, Desiree gave birth to Demery in November of 1994. Even after Demery's birth, Desiree continued to engage in criminal conduct. For instance, local law enforcement arrested Desiree in April of 1996 for a slew of fraudulent criminal activity, including organized fraud, grand theft, and several counts of uttering a forged instrument. They got a screenshot of all of those charges. It says when Desiree got arrested on state charges, she had already been sentenced to federal prison but was still out on bond. Her surrender date got delayed to at least August 12, 1996. As shown on her federal probation affidavit, Desiree later fled to New York while on probation to become a fugitive from justice. In March of 1998, New York officials arrested Desiree for grand larceny, criminal use of paraphernalia, and criminal possession of a firearm. Desiree pled guilty in New York State Court, but was only sentenced to a conditional discharge. And they're laying all this out for those wondering to kind of paint the character that Desiree is. She's trying to show, look, my mom is a piece of shit before she gets into her allegations against her mom. Pretty much. It says Desiree was eventually sentenced to 9 months imprisonment for violating federal probation. Choosing a life of crime over motherhood, Desiree dumped her infant daughter Demery on Demery's maternal grandfather, Julio, and his longtime partner, Olga. Growing up, Demery referred to Julio as abuelo and Olga as mommy, which Desiree despises till this day. In 2002, almost fresh out of prison, Desiree somehow became the owner of the 4040 Club in New York. They've got the filing showing that she owns that club, and it says Desiree has mostly remained in the greater New York City area since then and chose money, power, and influence at all costs.
No. What the hell is going on? What the hell is going on? He got shot for 99 bricks. Yo, bro, bun the bricks. What is let me not raise my voice, because I feel like the more confused I get is the more angrier I'm going to get. So let me bring it down. I'm still confused as shit. But, there's so much video to watch.
To the outside world, it appears that Desiree turned her life around and became a successful CEO. But secretly, Desiree continued to engage in acts exposing herself and others to both civil and criminal liability, which a state prosecutor noted in her closeout memorandum relating to Javon, that's Desiree's daughter's husband's, fraudulent arrest. And it's got a screenshot of that closeout memorandum here that says the victim's mother called in a false 911 call in December, which is a crime in and of itself, and reported the victim was getting kidnapped. The victim's mother also petitioned to have the victim Marchman acted, and the victim was Baker acted. The witnesses under oath told ASA Pina and ASA Farrell, I guess that's the prosecutors for whatever case this was, that the victim does not do drugs or drink. And you can see the prosecutor said that she called in a false 911 call to make this happen. It says, as related to this lawsuit, Desiree conspired with others to illegally record the Hadleys in their bedroom, hack Demery's iPhone, and unlawfully detain the Hadleys.
Rebecca's here. How you doing, Rebecca? Good seeing you again.
On several occasions, which included concocting false evidence against them. Candidly, it's difficult to imagine that a mother would do the acts listed below to their own child, but the screenshots included in this complaint prove otherwise. It says Desiree Perez unlawfully wiretapped her daughter and her daughter's husband's bedroom. Desiree, at an unknown time, conspired with others to surreptitiously plant a camera into the Hadley's bedroom without their knowledge, which existed since at least July 8th, 2022. Whoa! Desiree literally admitted to this fact in a frivolous lawsuit that she filed against Javon. In her complaint, Desiree even included a snapshot from the illegal recording device in the Hadley's bedroom, and it's got the screenshot here, I guess, of where the camera was placed. And it says, in addition to the illegal camera, Desiree also planted a listening device, picture below, inside their bedroom. And you can see this picture of the listening device here. What's crazy is Desiree is the one that provided the screenshot of the the camera in the bedroom in a lawsuit that she filed against her daughter's husband. That's insane. It says, unbeknownst to the Hadleys, Desiree kept both recording devices in their bedroom for years, which is clearly illegal. The prosecutor in Javon's frivolous criminal battery case, which Desiree facilitated, even recognized the illegal act of recording the Hadleys in their bedrooms. So, wow. It says that she also illegally hacked her daughter's iCloud account. It says Desiree also hacked or directed her highly trained technical staff at Roc Nation to hack Demarie's iCloud account, giving Desiree unfettered access to Demarie's digital data, including text messages, photographs, and videos. Demarie has witnessed her mother direct her tech team at Roc Nation to infiltrate other people's digital data, including an instance where Desiree wanted to determine how a chart-topping artist's upcoming movie got leaked. Demarie first realized her mother hacked her iPhone in March 2024. On that day, Javon and Demarie's friend, Sergine, called Demarie after noticing that Demarie's cell phone and Apple Watch were pinging in New York. And they've got a screenshot, I guess, from her friend showing that it was pinging Demarie in New York City.
Yo, what in the golden eye is going on here? What in the world is... What am I listening to? Oh my God. Oh my God. Yo, this is so crazy.
Demarie's Apple Watch also showed it was located at 538 West 26th Street in New York. I got a screenshot of that. It says when Demarie checked her iCloud account on her phone, which she had in her hand in Miami, it showed that iPhone 2 on her account was pinging the Roc Nation's headquarters in New York. And it has a screenshot attached of that as well. The problem is that Demarie only had one iPhone device attached to her iCloud account, the one she was literally holding in her hand. Not surprisingly, Desiree's office at Roc Nation is located at 540 West 26th Street. Google Maps shows that 538 West 26th Street, the location appearing on Demarie's iCloud account, and 540 West 26th Street, which is Roc Nation's headquarters, are literally part of the same building in New York. And it's got a picture showing the front doors to both of these buildings. It says Demarie believes the iPhone 2 device in her iCloud account, which placed her location at Roc Nation in New York, was a device cloned by her mother's team. Again, Demarie has personally witnessed her mother order her team to clone a person's iPhone for her access. In Desiree's frivolous lawsuit recently filed against Javon, she somewhat admitted to hacking Demarie's phone. Desiree filed screenshots of text messages between Demarie and Javon, but failed to adequately explain how she acquired them. And they've got a screenshot of the prosecutor noting the oddity of Desiree's ability to provide private conversations between her daughter and her daughter's husband. It says that Demarie was very concerned with the conduct of her family, that she had found a tracker in her luggage and believed she was followed to the SAO. I don't know what that is. When she came in for her pre-file statement, when the victim...
Yo, quick, you sound like academics. You sound like academics when friggin' Not Like Us was starting to go viral. What did this nigga do to make him so mad? Bro, this is crazy. I have never heard of a story like this before in my life. What? This is some Mr. Robot type-ish facts, bro. Oh my God. Yo, bring back the flip phones for real. But no, don't bring back the Nokia. But we can have the flip phones. You know what I'm saying?
Victim came into the SAO. An attorney for the witnesses also appeared and inquired with the receptionist as to the whereabouts of Demarie. Demarie claims her family has hacked her iCloud account and accessed her private data and information. Demarie's mother provided the state with a Google Drive of evidence which contained private conversations that Demarie had with her husband dating as far back as 2017. As explained below, Desiree used illegal bedroom recordings, stolen iCloud data, and other means during declaring her conspiracy to fraudulently convince people that Demery needed to be unlawfully committed to a mental health institution and drug rehab facility under Florida's Baker Act and Marchman Act statutes. She used the same information to get Javon falsely arrested. It then goes on into Desiree threatened to use the Baker Act against her daughter. It says Desiree's first time threatening to commit wrongfully Demery to a mental health institution occurred on September 14th, 2023. That day, Desiree lured Demery to her home in Pinecrest, Florida, under the false pretenses that Demery's uncle needed to be taken to the hospital, which was untrue. Demery rushed to her mother's home and was confronted by her mom for a quote-unquote intervention. As seen below in the snippet from the police report, Desiree admitted to having an intervention for Demery and that she hired a counselor named Victoria Hunter. And they've got a screenshot of that snippet that pretty much says that. Although Desiree told officers that Victoria Hunter is a therapist, Miss Hunter has never been a licensed therapist in Florida. Desiree convinced Miss Hunter to lie to the police and falsely claim she was a therapist. Demery was not interested in her mother's intervention and demanded to leave. However, Desiree prevented Demery from leaving by confiscating her dog. Desperate to leave, Demery attempted to climb over her mother's security fence. Desiree pulled Demery back and stated, "I am going to Baker Act you if you stay with that N-word with the hard R. I will have you committed."
No, we're not doing that. We are not doing that. No way. We are not doing that right there. I will have you committed if you stay with this. Oh my God. I had the little Fido, by the way. You know, y'all know the Fido phones, you know what I'm saying?
Desiree's statement was not some veiled threat and later came to fruition as explained below. Demery called 911 and requested police assistance in this matter, but her mother, Desiree, flaunted her power as the CEO of Roc Nation and claimed she had Pinecrest police in her pocket. Pinecrest police officers did arrive on the scene and eventually forced Desiree to allow her daughter to leave, but due to her influence, the officers did not press charges against Desiree for false imprisonment. That same day, Desiree showed up to Demery's grandfather's house where the Hadleys were residing, so her and her husband. Desiree confronted Javon and told him, "I know everything that happens with you and Demery. If you stay with her, you're going to get yourself killed." Based upon Desiree's threats, the Hadleys moved out of their grandfather's home in October of 2023 and into a house located in Homestead, Florida. In response, Desiree rented the house directly across the street, pointed a camera towards their home, and ordered private
investigation. Nah, no. This a movie. This got to be a movie script. This a movie. There's no way that's real.
2023 and into a house located in Homestead, Florida. In response,
based upon Desiree's threats, the Hadleys moved out of Demery's grandfather's home into a home located in Steph. In response, wait. No.
October of 2023 and into a house located in Homestead, Florida. In response, Desiree rented the house directly across the street, pointed a camera towards their home, and ordered private investigators, many who were unlicensed, to stalk and harass them.
Don't this shit sound like some shit from Invincible? Y'all remember from Invincible when they got the house across the street to spy on Nolan and his family? Just to see if he really killed like the Justice League of that universe? Y'all remember that? And that man went in that house and slaughtered every Yo. This is a movie script. This is a movie script. There's no way this is real. That's what, Tiff, that's what I want to know. Oh my God. She's the CEO of Roc Nation?
Investigators who stayed across the street from them worked for CTS Research in New York City. CTS investigators followed the Hadleys 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Many times, the CTS investigators followed the Hadleys at unsafe distances in their cars, causing them to fear for their safety while driving. On one occasion, a CTS investigator who was unlicensed had a gun laying on the front seat while following Javon. Below is a camera that was used by these investigators to record their house, and you can see the picture of the window with the little camera right there.
Bro, they didn't even try to hide it. They didn't even try to hide it. The camera's right. Oh my God, this is weird. This is weird.
Corner. It also says that Desiree conspired with Demarie's employer, Iconic Creative LLC. It says after her first plot failed, Desiree upped the stakes to have Demarie committed. Since January of 2021, Demarie worked for a creative agency in Miami called Iconic Creatives LLC. Of course, Iconic often worked events for Roc Nation and its artists. For 2.5 years, Demarie's salary at Iconic was approximately $65,000 a year, and the company was in financial distress. A fact the owners shared with Demarie. They sent this message that said, so we are dealing with a lot. We're in a bad place. $45,000. Yesterday, the photographer from Zion in New Orleans was not paid either. $14,000. AJ has not been paid in months. It says, but in October of 2023, right after Desiree threatened to Baker Act her daughter if she didn't leave her husband, Demarie received a salary increase from $65,000 to $125,000. Upon information and belief, Desiree stepped in and helped resolve Iconic's financial problems with strings attached, i.e. controlling Demarie. Demarie found it odd because she knew about the company's financial situation. She was also ecstatic about her pay increase, of course, but little did she know what was to come. Suddenly, Iconic began asking Demarie to stay late, working longer hours, and to frequently travel. While some of the demands made sense at the time because of the pay increase, Demarie did not realize that a nefarious plot was on the way, i.e. a plot to split up her and her husband. On December 12, 2023, Elizabeth Liz Fragella and Benigo Benny Fragella, the owners of Iconic, texted Demarie stating that she was required to attend a meeting with the Nike Academy the following day.
What?
And they sent this message right here. When Demarie signed into Zoom, only one person was in the room, Rachel Thomas. And Demarie says she found this odd because every other training or meeting that they had with the Nike Academy consisted of at least 20 people.
They set her up. Yo, Rebecca, that's what I want to know. They need to reform the... They're not going to do it. They need to reform the probation court system. This should not be that way to abuse. Bro, it's not... God be with them.
Rachel Thomas signed on to Zoom and identified herself as a representative from the Nike Academy. Rachel then began asking Demarie questions that were unrelated to work. Demarie, suspicious of Rachel's intent, asked Rachel if she could record the conversation, and Rachel consented. Demarie recorded the conversation and took a screenshot of Rachel. Rachel proceeded to give Demarie a quasi-psychological evaluation without Demarie's approval or consent. Upon information and belief, Desiree conspired with Liz and Benny, the owners of Iconic, to have Demarie undergo a mental health evaluation with Rachel. After the quote-unquote training, Demarie asked for Rachel's Nike Academy profile, and Rachel agreed to provide it, but did not do so immediately, probably because it had not been created. A few days later, Demarie received a fake link showing Rachel's false affiliation with the Nike Academy. Upon information and belief, Desiree and Liz or Benny asked someone to create the fraudulent website. The website was later deleted, and Liz and Benny realized that Demarie was becoming suspicious. Liz and Benny required Demarie to attend 2 other quote-unquote training sessions with Rachel Thomas. The last one occurred right before Christmas. At that time, Demarie did not know Rachel's true identity, but in reality, Rachel Thomas was really a woman named Rachel Bernstein. Rachel Bernstein is a licensed marriage and family therapist from California who specializes in sexual cults and has a podcast on sexual cult recovery. Damn, that's crazy. So they got her profile right here showing that that's what she does. It says, upon information and belief, this was just a ploy by Desiree to have Demarie improperly evaluated. Suffice it to say, Rachel Bernstein was never associated with the Nike Academy when Demarie was attending these training sessions. It says Desiree immediately conspired to have Javon arrested. On December 26, 2023, less than a week after the forced sessions with Rachel failed, Desiree reported to Miami-Dade police that Javon battered Demarie on January 16, 2022, almost 2 years prior. On December 29th, 2023, officers responded to the Hadleys' home to speak with Javon. DeMarie answered the door and told the officers that nothing happened on January 16, 2022, and directed the police to leave if they did not have a warrant. The next day, December 30th, 2023, Desiree ordered private investigators to follow the Hadleys to Pinto Farms in Homestead, Florida. While the Hadleys were enjoying Pinto Farms with their nephew, Desiree falsely reported to 911 that Javon had kidnapped.
Nah, this girl is sick. This girl is sick. Nah. This is the CEO of Roc Nation? Really? This individual is the CEO of Roc Nation? Bro. What the hell am I listening to right now? My brain hurts right now, bruh. And it's too easy in America to abuse the conservatorship courts. I don't know about Canada, but they do not have anyone's best interest in heart. Not at all. It's beyond mob-ish. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
DeMarie and was holding her hostage, and they got a screenshot from the police officer that says he was dispatched in emergency mode to the Pinto farm in response to this. It says, as shown in the screenshot below, Desiree's allegations were completely false. DeMarie was hardly being abducted and was spending quality time with her soon-to-be husband and nephews, and they got this picture there showing them having a good time while they were out there. It says the state's attorney's office documented Desiree's criminal activity of falsely reporting her.
But you don't know if Roc Nation is gonna drop her. You don't know that. We don't know that.
Crime in their closeout memorandum. The prosecutor stated the victim's mother called in a false 911 call in December, which is a crime in and of itself, and reported the victim was getting kidnapped. It says when the officers arrived on scene, they quickly realized Desiree lied to the police as recognized by the state's attorney's office. However, Desiree had already conspired with high-ranking members of the police department and others to falsely arrest Javon for the January 2022 alleged battery. Although the prosecutor ultimately dropped the charges against Javon, he was embarrassed that the police arrested him in front of his nephews. Desiree avoided any charges for falsely reporting this kidnapping. Approximately 1 week after Javon was released on bond from his fraudulent arrest on December 30th, 2023, Iconic fired DeMarie without any explanation. And they got this message right here from Iconic, and it says that basically they believe Desiree demanded that Liz and Benny fire her daughter. Again, Iconic has a large contract with Roc Nation and its artists, and they believe that Desiree stepped in to help them financially. In addition to firing DeMarie, Iconic refused to pay her for the weeks she had already worked in December of 2023. DeMarie was told that in order to receive payment for the week she worked, she had to sign what was essentially a gag order entitled a separation of release, which precluded her from reporting Iconic's behavior to Nike. This was obviously illegal. DeMarie had threatened legal action to get paid for the time she had already worked. So it says that at this point, Desiree hired an attorney for DeMarie. It says that same week, Desiree hired an attorney named Brent Schwartz to improperly influence Javon's misdemeanor battery case. On January 8, 2024, Brent Schwartz filed a notice of appearance purporting to represent DeMarie when Desiree actually hired him for her own interests. They got a copy of that he filed. It says, to be clear, DeMarie never hired Brett Schwartz, nor has she ever talked to him. Nevertheless, Brett Schwartz filed a fraudulent notice of appearance, which caused the prosecutor in Javon's case to reach out to him. And I guess they sent this email right here. It says, ultimately, this was not the only occasion that Desiree hired lawyers who pretended as if they were representing DeMarie, as explained below. It says, at Desiree's direction, Brett Schwartz tried to convince prosecutors to charge Javon with human trafficking, although there was no legal basis to do so. The excerpt below was taken from an email that Brett Schwartz sent to the prosecutor in Javon's misdemeanor battery case, and that email said, as a result of this arduous history of manipulation, I will be reaching out to prosecutor Nicholas Chavez or prosecutor Brenda Mesrick, who is the chief of the human trafficking unit, to request they investigate and pursue felony charges against Mr. Hadley for human trafficking at the very least. Both have been copied. It says there was absolutely no basis for anyone to pursue felony charges against Javon from human trafficking. Desiree was simply using her money, power, and influence to prevent the Hadleys from being together. Desiree even contacted the prosecutor directly using her Roc Nation business email. After the prosecutor told Desiree and Brett that she could not charge Javon, Desiree asked the prosecutor to improperly extend the case. Desiree wanted to keep Javon on edge.
Wow, nah, this girl is sick. That's a different kind of setup. This girl is sick.
That she sent that said, right, perhaps even postponing and saying they are investigating whatever they feel they can say so that he at least stays on edge. Unfortunately, the prosecutors agreed to Desiree's demand for more time, which ultimately allowed her to continue to wreak havoc on the Hadleys. It says Desiree did just that. And it's got this right here, Desiree's third attempt at a mental health evaluation. On March 26, 2024, after the intervention with Victoria Hunter and training with Rachel Bernstein failed, Desiree directed Natalie Anderson, a Roc Nation employee, to confront Demarie's therapist, Dr. Luz Barrio, who Demarie was seeing for grief counseling after her aunt died. Natalie Anderson presented Dr. Barrio with a fabricated audio recording of a woman screaming, "Don't R-word me." At Desiree's direction, Miss Anderson falsely claimed the recording was Javon doing that to Demarie. Desiree wanted Dr. Barrio to believe that Demarie had some type of mental health issue in order to capitalize on her threat to Baker Act her. Since Dr. Barrio was intimately familiar with Demarie and had seen her on countless occasions, she knew that Demarie had never been a threat to herself or others, was not in danger, and did not meet the Baker Act criteria. Dr. Barrio refused to do Desiree's dirty work. After learning about Demarie's false Baker Act explained below, Dr. Barrio wrote a letter disputing Demarie's supposed need for treatment or hospitalizations. They got a copy of that note here. It says, "I have been working with Miss Demarie Lopez since July of 2022, providing individual sessions throughout our therapeutic work. There's been no evidence of visual."
Yo, Tiff, hush. If that's actually what happened, yo, you know what? Tiff for Roc Nation for real, bro. Tiff for Roc Nation, because if she cracked the code, oh Lord. Oh my God, this is insane. Are y'all here? We're not even close to being done yet. We're like 3/4. There's still a whole quarter of a video to get through. Bro, this is insane.
Auditory, or tactical hallucinations. She has consistently presented as intelligent and coherent. In addition, throughout our clinical work, I have not found reason to recommend hospitalization due to any suspected thought disorder. And then it gets into Desiree's fourth and successful attempt to unlawfully detain Demarie. On March 27, 2024, after striking out with Dr. Barrio, Victoria Hunter, and Rachel Bernstein, and Desiree conspired with and likely paid Dr. Daniel Bobber, who works at Memorial Regional Hospital, a state-run facility, to wrongfully commit Demarie to a mental health facility under Florida's Baker Act. It says Desiree and her co-conspirators' plan is sickening. Desiree hired private investigators Steve Caddy, Jessica Caddy, and James Fondo, all owners of Sig9 LLC, to lure Demarie to a marina in Dania Beach. One of the Sig9 LLC investigators called Demarie, pretending to be a property owner who wanted to hire the Hadleys landscaping company. Sig9 LLC placed a GPS tracker on Demarie's car to follow her movements, a fact that James Fondo later admitted to police on camera. And James Fondo is one of the investigators. It says when Demarie got close to the marina for the business meeting, James Fondo, a former police officer, asked the police to respond on the side of the road near the marina, and they got some footage from some body cam here. It says 2 officers from the Broward County Sheriff's Office arrived at approximately 5:40 p.m. James Fondo told the officers that Dr. Bobber, who was waiting at the marina, was going to Baker Act Demarie. It's important to note that James Fondo said Dr. Bomber is going to Baker Act Demarie, even before he had ever met her. In other words, Dr. Bobber had no factual basis to initiate a Baker Act because he had never evaluated Demarie beforehand. At that point, he had not even seen her in person. But since Desiree hired, conspired, and paid Dr. Bobber to commit Demarie under under the Baker Act statute, he was going to do exactly just that, no matter the circumstances. When DeMarie arrived at the marina, James Fondo, Stephen, and Jessica Caddy, along with Dr. Bobber and the police, confronted her. They've got another screenshot here from the body cam of them doing that. It says the Signon owners pretended to be part of an unspecified mobile crisis unit that worked with Dr. Bobber, which was a lie. DeMarie repeatedly told the police that she had never met Dr. Bobber before, that he was not her doctor, and that her mother conspired with Dr. Bobber to Baker Act her. DeMarie even called her own doctor, Dr. Barrio, and begged the police to speak with her, but police refused. The police then forced DeMarie to go with 3 complete strangers in a dark gray truck with no hospital, police, or mental health facility insignia on it. The police never even verified the identity of any of the individuals on the scene to confirm that they belonged to a mobile crisis unit. They just took the word of 3 fraudsters in a gray pickup truck. Frankly, the body-worn camera footage is disgusting and difficult to watch. Equally disturbing, Dr. Bobber wrote on the intake form that he personally examined DeMarie on March 27, 2024, and I got proof of that right below that. It says, but his statement is bogus because at 5:56 p.m., body-worn camera footage shows Dr. Bobber leaning against the truck parked in the marina talking to the police. It is doubtful that any doctor has ever conducted a legitimate psychological evaluation under such circumstances. Dr. Bobber's license to practice medicine should be terminated. When DeMarie arrived at Memorial Hospital on March 27, 2024, the first doctor examined her at 6:21 p.m., noting that she was alert, oriented to person, place, and time, and that her behavior was normal. And they've got a screenshot of that. Nurses also noted that DeMarie was cooperative and accused Dr. Bobber of colluding with her mother, which
Yo, what is going on? What is going on? Oh my God. And there's still 10 minutes?
is consistent with the body-worn camera footage in this case. Reading between the lines, the hospital staff was clearly concerned about Dr. Bobber's decision to detain DeMarie for an involuntary examination and documented her side of the story. Nevertheless, Dr. Bobber falsely reported that DeMarie required intensive, comprehensive, multimodal treatment, including 24-hour medical supervision, which is something that none of his colleagues at the hospital noted. Dr. Bobber even directed staff to medicate DeMarie with Benadryl. In the screenshot above, Dr. Bobber wrote, if patient refuses PO, give IM, which essentially means that if DeMarie refused Benadryl, then force it upon her through an intermuscular injection or a shot. Dr. Bobber wrote false information in his report to keep DeMarie detained and Desiree happy. Dr. Bobber even admitted speaking to Desiree on the body-worn camera footage. Important to the issue below, Memorial Regional tested DeMarie for drugs on March 27, 2024, which came back negative for everything. Nevertheless, Dr. Bobber conspired with Desiree to commit DeMarie to a Life Skills South Florida outpatient facility, which is a drug treatment facility where he is the medical director. Life Skills is owned by or affiliated with Odyssey Behavioral Healthcare. And you can see right here, they got a screenshot showing that he is the medical director of this place. It says on March 29, 2024, despite DeMarie's normal behavior and negative drug test, Desiree filed an emergency ex parte petition under Florida's Marchman Act, claiming that DeMarie suffered from a drug and alcohol condition, something that both she and Dr. Bobber knew was untrue. DeMarie has never done drugs in her life, it says. Got a screenshot of that emergency ex parte petition. It says Desiree specifically requested for DeMarie to be transferred from Memorial Hospital to Life Skills so that she and Dr. Bobber could continue DeMarie's unlawful detention. And then they got a screenshot of them requesting that she be moved there. It says, perhaps most disturbing, Desiree also moved for guardianship over DeMarie on March 29, 2024, claiming that her 30-year-old, highly educated daughter who never touched an illegal drug in her life was incapacitated. Desiree blatantly lied in her guardianship petition, claiming that DeMarie was asking friends and family to share prescription pain pills with her. Desiree listed Liz Fergella as one of the people DeMarie supposedly asked for pills, the same Liz who Desiree used during the second fraudulent Baker Act and who was financially indebted to Desiree for saving her company. DeMarie has all her text messages with Liz, and the messages show that DeMarie never asked Liz for any illegal drugs or pills. Desiree also listed Milides Garcia as a person DeMarie sought out for drugs, but when Millie was placed under oath by the state's attorney office, she admitted that DeMarie does not do drugs or drink. Millie was the caretaker for DeMarie's grandfather and was frequently in DeMarie's presence. Minerva also never accused DeMarie of using drugs. Moreover, Desiree filed filed the petition on March 29, 2024. Demery stopped communicating with her mom long beforehand. Desiree made blatant misrepresentations to the court again. And then it says here that Demery was transferred to Life Skills. Since Desiree concocted a fraudulent ex parte Marchman Act petition, Demery was transported to Life Skills on March 30, 2024. While at Life Skills, Demery repeatedly asked to be examined by someone other than Dr. Bobber, but they initially refused. But unbiased professionals began to realize Demery did not belong there. The staff wrote that Demery was not delusional, speech was normal, there was no hallucinations, and that her thought process was intact. They also noted that Demery was always positive. Nevertheless, Life Skills required Demery to undergo treatment for an addiction she did not have. Demery begged to take a hair follicle test. Eventually, a worker at Life Skills did this on April 3rd, 2024. Not surprisingly, Demery's hair follicle test, which detects drug use for at least 90 days prior, showed no drugs had been in Demery's system. And they've got a copy of the lab report there. It says Life Skills still did not allow her to leave after 2 negative drug tests. Then it gets into Javon's second fraudulent arrest, because remember, Desiree Perez, CEO of Roc Nation, is also having her daughter's husband arrested. It says on April 5th, 2024, while Demery was at Life Skills, Desiree conspired with others and government officials to get Javon arrested for alleged battery that occurred on September 11, 2023. This was another ploy by Desiree and her co-conspirators because in a meeting in January 2024, just months earlier, the state told Desiree and her team that no probable cause existed to arrest Javon for the September 11th, 2023 alleged incident. But as reflected in the state's closeout memo, Desiree eventually hired a team to try to get what she wanted. And they've got a screenshot of her doing that. It says, despite the frivolity of his arrest, as recognized by the state, Javon was initially ordered to stay away from Demery. Desiree capitalized on Javon's wrongful arrest and was not finished terrorizing the Hadleys yet. She did this again. It says on April 8th, 2024, as Demery was about to be released from Life Skills, Desiree conspired with others to get Javon falsely arrested again for allegedly violating the stay away order related to the April 5th fraudulent arrest. It says this was another bogus event captured on body-worn cameras. That day, Javon responded to his home to feed his cat. Demery was still in custody under the fraudulent Marchman Act petition, but was set to be released later that day. Desiree's private investigators who were monitoring Javon contacted the police and told them that Javon was at the house. The body-worn camera footage captures officers speaking with their supervisor about this case. The officers admitted that the higher-ups directed them to arrest Javon. This nefarious act was also addressed in the state's closeout memo. After Desiree caused the police to wrongfully arrest Javon the third time, Demery was released from Life Skills, and it says Desiree reign of terror continues. Demery immediately reported to the prosecutors that Desiree was using her power, influence, and money to keep them apart. The state asked Demery to give them a sworn statement in their office on April 20th.
Is that Telly? Is that Telly all the way from Australia? What's up? Girl, how you doing? I hope you're doing all right. I hope you're doing all right. Oh, we almost done this video. My God. I hope you're doing all right, though. Thank you for stopping by.
26, 2024. When Demery arrived, the receptionist instructed her to sit in the waiting room. While waiting for the prosecutor, Demery saw Laura Gatz, an attorney who supposedly represented the witness in Javon's case, walk in and speak with the receptionist. Laura Gatz was really hired by Desiree. Laura Gatz asked the receptionist, has Demery Lopez arrived yet? She is supposed to be meeting with the ASA or the prosecutor at 9 a.m. Laura Gatz did not see Desiree sitting in the waiting room. It says the receptionist asked Laura Gatz who she was, and Laura identified herself as Demery's attorney and the witness. The receptionist told Laura Gatz that Demery was inside the waiting room and asked her if she wanted to sit with her client. Laura Gatz, knowing that she did not represent Demery, said that she would just wait outside. Demery believes that her mother instructed Laura Gatz to respond to the prosecutor's office to intimidate Demery. This was the second time that attorneys hired by Desiree falsely claimed they represented Demery. Eventually, the prosecutor dropped all charges against Javon and wrote a scathing 11-page close-out memorandum explaining Desiree and her co-conspirators' unlawful and inappropriate actions.
It's cold? It's cold in Australia. It gets cold in Australia? That's possible? I swear it's always like burning hot in Australia unless it rains. But hey, if you're cold, stay warm, you know? Just stay warm, you know, get a little blanket, you know what I'm saying? Sit back and enjoy.
It goes on to say that Desiree has actually sued her daughter before. It says on April 22nd, 2024, Desiree filed a frivolous lawsuit against Demery. In that case, Demery's mom and stepfather, Desiree's husband, surprised Demery with a new car in December 2020, which they put in Demery's name. Desiree claimed she was the lawful owner of this car, which was false. Title to the car had always been in Demery's name. Desiree claimed she had a mutual agreement where Demery was granted use of the vehicle with the understanding that it would not be disposed of without Desiree's permission. This too was false. Desiree claimed that Demery wrongfully asserted control over the vehicle, causing harm to Desiree. A brief reading of the lawsuit shows how low Desiree will stoop to get what she wants. Recently, Desiree filed a separate lawsuit against Javon, claiming that he violated her right to privacy in a home that she does not live in and only entered 3 times in the last 4 years. In fact, Javon and Demery actually lived in the house that Desiree somehow claimed a right to privacy in. That lawsuit is also frivolous and only intended to harass the Hadleys. Demery and Javon have spent a large amount of money on lawyers to escape her unlawful detentions and lost out on countless job opportunities. They have suffered economic and non-economic damages from Desiree's acts and others, including lost wages, emotional distress, pain and suffering, and etc. The lawsuit follows, and Desiree's conduct must cease. So they're accusing her of violating the Racketeered Influence and Corrupt Organization Act because of the controlling behavior that she's exhibited. They are accusing them of a civil conspiracy underneath Florida law, and by them I mean Desiree Perez, Roc Nation, and this Natalie Anderson woman. They are claiming a civil conspiracy under Florida law against Desiree Perez, Sig-9, the Dr. Daniel Barber, the investigators for Sig-9, and a Fourth Amendment violation. The Fourth Amendment is your constitutional right to not be unreasonably searched or have things seized by the government. At the end of it, they demand for a jury trial in this case, and so that's what we got. That's the document. This is a bombshell law.
What the hell did I just... Yo, what did I watch? What did I read? Opposite seasons, it's cold for me, but probably mild. Oh, girl, it's warm as hell right now. I ain't gonna lie. 22 degrees Celsius. It's not even summertime yet. That's how you know summertime is gonna be really warm in Canada, and I cannot wait. My God, this is crazy. Bro, just think about it. What else has she done? Because this is not fiction. Everything that we're reading here is not fiction. There's proof of everything that happened to... Yo, what else has this girl done? Roc Nation? Bro, what the Wait, y'all have winter out? I'm sorry, my brain is everywhere. Y'all have winter out there for real? Does it snow in Australia? I'm curious. But what the actual F, bruh? Oh my... Yo, no. I need to ask this question now. Because this is Roc Nation. This is what else can Roc Nation do? Because if she can do this to her own daughter, just imagine what else Roc Nation can do to other people. Oh my God. Oh my God. Tiny, what the hell? Bro. Damn, you guys really do have winter out there. Oh, it snows up in the mountains. That's crazy. I think she did sue the cops because at the top of this document, there's like a whole chunk of people that are getting sued. There's a whole chunk of people getting sued, including some of the officers. But yo, that's my biggest concern right now because Roc Nation clearly has dominance over like all these people. That's why I asked the question, what else has Roc Nation done? That's what scares me. Because this goes to show me that Rock Nation can do whatever they want. And that is frightening. That is super frightening. How do you have an ex-drug trafficker end up being an owner of the 40/40 Club and then end up being the CEO of Rock Nation? Telly, if you read this whole case, girl, you're gonna need a drink. You're going to need a drink. That's all I'm gonna tell you. Now, I don't know what you drink specific. Maybe you need some tequila, vodka, you know, maybe a little Hennessy, you know, but you're going to need a drink. My God, this is insane. Sorry, I kind of don't know what Flex is saying. Hard to pause him to file a company on Rivers worker case. He's alarming and shouldn't be soliciting in my building. That's not legal. From a amount of other things. Oh my God. Hey, I hope everything's good over there. But what I'm just asking is that, what else can Rock Nation do? Because if the CEO of Rock Nation can do this to her own daughter, she was terrorizing her own daughter and the husband, setting up cameras, having wiretaps in their bedroom, and you've been watching that for over 2 years, and then using all these people, just like using and flexing your power so that you won't get charged for anything. Setting up a whole dummy house in front of their house just to record things that happen. Yo, she did this to her own daughter. She don't care. Bro, this woman don't care, bro. She did this to her own daughter. She can do whatever she wants. This literally sounds like literally, y'all remember when Diddy was in his office yelling and screaming about he can do whatever he wants? This the female version of that. So that's why I'm asking the question, what else can Rock Nation do to other people to railroad them like that? Pepsi, I have kids. I don't drink at home. Gonna be wild then, girl. Make sure you get at least 2-3 bottles of Pepsi, because I promise you, you're going to be stressed. Telly, you're going to be stressed. My God, this is insane. I'm concerned. I'm really concerned, because is this how Rock Nation's been moving since 2021? Because that's when she started to be the CEO of Rock Nation around 2021. So, oh my God. Nah, this is scary. This is scary. This don't even seem real. Like I said before, this seems like a movie script. This can't be real life. Is this where they get their movie ideas from? From all these little stories behind the scenes? That's some misery. Girl, don't even get me started. Must have been scary being involuntarily locked up in a mental hospital with no one fighting for your... Oh my God. Say that again for the people in the back. That sounds like some Gotham City level fuckery. My God, this is crazy. And I know I said it a lot already, but this is the CEO of Rock Nation. How many more victims are out there? Yo, where did Ace go? Yo, where did Ace go? Jesus. My God. Oh my God. Oh my God. All lies will be exposed. It don't matter who you are. Cat Williams. Facts. And this is why I can't stand rich people at all, for real. Oh my God. If I made one false police report, I would be in jail faster than you can say facts. Oh my God, yo, this is crazy. Bro, I'm just trying to read these comments to see if there's anything else that I might have missed. Why is Jay-Z doing business with the most famous snitch in narco history? Oh my God. Wow. Wow. This is... No, okay, no way. No. Stop. There's no way people are saying free Tory here. There's no way people are saying free Tory here. There's no way. Yeah, this definitely makes me change my mind about Tory. They set him up. I don't know anymore. I don't know. I'm trying to avoid Tory Lane news, bruh. Jesus, I don't want to talk about him. I ain't got no time for him. God, this is God. You know what? I'm gonna end this reaction. I'm gonna end this reaction because I can't. He said that? Wait, I didn't even read that. Quickie, he said that for real? Was he trolling or was he serious? If she don't have mental issues before, she may not. Oh, for real. Oh, let's leave that Tory stuff alone. I'm not interested in any of them fools. Oh, facts. But this right here, my God, this is one evil and wicked SOB. She should be in jail. She should not be the CEO of anything. This woman right here is, wow. That is a unique piece of work right there. My goodness. Jesus God, man. Wait, he said it for real and he wanted to remove the comments? Oh my God. This can't be real. Wow, I have no words. I just have no words. I'm just gonna end it here. Trump set her free? Alright, yeah, I'm definitely ending it here.